They can do it. We talked about it on the desk. It is a very even map for both the teams, but the only favor that one team has is SSG has the crowd behind them.
There's no doubt about where the favor lies in the crowd, even on the socials. Space Station edge out ahead. FaZe Clan are the #2 ranked team in the world, but it's time to settle. Who's better in the server right now? North America's last hope versus FaZe Clan! Six years these teams have faced off each other, but never against elimination, never for a spot in a semi-final. The last time that Space Station made it past quarters, they won the whole damn tournament. But that was 3.5 years ago, and just 2 years ago, FaZe Clan were champions in Yavle. That door closes if they are eliminated by SSG here.
Ooh, Capital ban for FaZe Clan. Fans are flying by us a little bit, and with Maverick and Capital being taken out, it does mean that we've got all of the rest of our hard breach and the anti-wall denial in the hands of the attack as well for FaZe, but Capital, for me, has been the most curious ban out of the lot so far.
You can accomplish a lot off the back of Capital, especially on every site. Obviously, you can fire out the rafters on Workshop, but when it comes to Master and Basement, you can use the fires and smokes to cut off very difficult positions like the bathroom that a lot of players play on Master.
If you're a Brazilian fan, well, you're probably watching the Brazilian Portuguese language stream, but if you happen to be watching the English stream right now, FaZe Clan will be waiting to hear your voice as SSG have the boost from the crowd here in Atlanta.
FaZe Clan didn't let the crowd get to them in map 2, but once you go down 5 match points, it's very difficult to stand up with confidence, with courage, and not feel a little bit of embarrassment that you've made it to map 3 against the home advantage team.
SSG starting out on the defense. Now, we have spoken a lot about the sides on this particular series, and it has been rather defender-sided between both maps, Skyscraper and Consulate, but will be the same on Clubhouse. This map plays out very differently between the last two that we've seen. Going down to the basement for SSG, but that's not where the defense will reside. A lot of the players starting out on a very extended roam through all 3 floors of the map.
SSG is notorious for roaming on this map, especially stalling out on drones. Their roam is commonly known as the SSG roam. Obviously, it was way back in 2022 when obviously they won Invite themselves. Some similar characteristics, but the players are different in themselves.
Ashen, one of those new players, is shut down very early by KDS. He overstayed his welcome in that top floor. Very ambitious, solo roaming. Faults nowhere to support him. J90 tempted to make a run out happen, but he falls on back. And I believe with that, the majority of Space Station has retreated back to that basement bomb site. Where is Faults? Yeah, he has also retreated on back. So Space Station forfeiting the entire map now, despite being a player down, and will have to fight from behind.
And off the back of the first pick for FaZe Clan, they really have hit go into the map. Cybers come alive onto the Buck, and through the mid-round, it's him and Handy, the 2 players with vertical potential that we'll have to watch out for. No C4s on the other side of SSG, so vertical pressure, whether FaZe Clan know it or not, is actually pretty safe in their hands at the moment. I think Vita King definitely knows about it because he's sending his way straight on through to try and open the kitchen hatch.
Here's the impact trick to try and stop the Thermite from getting the hatch, but it won't be successful. Even though Ashen went down early, there's 40 seconds, and FaZe Clan have so many positions that they need to get a hold of, so many positions that they need to drone SSG out of before they enter the site.
What is the move here for FaZe? Hopefully an opening pick. A 5v3 advantage would mean everything. There's only 30 seconds to go. They must erupt onto the side. Faults forced out of his position. The picks come through for SSG as they all fall one by one. Forest, the last one to fall as J90 is put in the dirt. FaZe, a flying start, a flawless round. And Clubhouse is looking great for them on the attack.
We saw the last map how aggressive SSG was. And first round on the defense, the favorable side on Clubhouse. SSG, slow, playing back into the site, especially after losing Ashen. There wasn't really many teammates or many options to come assist Ashen. They fall back down in the site. They play off the time, which is an okay thing to do. But FaZe is obviously very good on attack. They struggled last map, but they're not letting that affect them or get in their head into Clubhouse. And I'd like to see SSG, you know, they tested the waters last round. They did a little bit of a bait roam to fall back after Ashen went down. I'd love to see them turn the Jets back on, which was able to carry them through the comeback last map.
I actually totally agree with that. I feel like FaZe Clan, they are an execute team. When it comes to the late game, they are in the 5-on-5 or 4-on-5. That kind of situation is where FaZe Clan thrive, especially with their measure twice, cut once approach, going into every single stage of the map.
5 seconds to go.
For SSG, they're going to change up their bomb site, having lost out in the basement. They think better of it and are going to go over to CCTV and Cash instead. It does look like they are extending out a little bit. J90 and Faults are going to extend their way over into the master side of the map, aided by those Azami Keeper barriers. Faults is going to use those spontaneously a little bit later in the round to make sure that his fall-off route is safe.
SSG can't let FaZe get comfortable, ready to execute. They need to take the fights to them. Because as we've spoken time and time again, we know that FaZe have a much harder time attacking or pushing into the site after losing a man. Bandit Trick will come out, it'll get the Thermite, but the Ace on the other side will open up the wall and start FaZe's onset onto the site.
Nice minigame being played so far from FaZe Clan on the attacking half. They've done step one, but can they do the rest? Through the mid-round now we go. It's a bit of nice info there from Ashen, able to jump the drone out through the drone hole all the way over in Jacuzzi. But what have FaZe Clan achieved so far? Having opened the breach now, Hot and Cold is locked a little bit in his position. He is protected by the Keeper barricade for a while, but it does seem like FaZe Clan are going to shift their focus over towards Garage.
And here's where that Capitao ban, that FaZe banned out. It would have been perfect for taking Garage and starting to execute onto Hot and Cold, who's the player up there. It looks like they want to continue going through Garage, but it's going to be so difficult without having the flames. It's going to take a lot more of a step-by-step process off of the utility first.
Selma attempts to clear the position. Hot and Cold goes for a jump over, but it is spotted and taken down. Souls punishes Faults as well. And FaZe do have their two-player advantage they were looking for.
Very explosive take.
Below, the retake into server. They need to get a pick back first to be able to have that advantage, have that downstairs control. And there it is, J9 started off.
Ashen's found one as well. He's gone down, but not out as of yet. However, the player on the balcony has been eliminated for FaZe, and so SSG have a real shot at making this work.
But here goes KDS onto Ashen, but it's Forest on the other side with a lineup. FaZe, they can't enter in just yet. They need to make sure they're safe before they make their way in onto the bomb site. And it's handy to make sure that no one's flanking down from below. They really don't want Forest to land a C4.
Oh, Cyber's finished off Forest. That C4 is gone. And with the reinforcement, J90 will have a very difficult task of denying this plan. It seems impossible. Oh! A double kill is not enough for J90. And the 1v1 is closed out by Handy. FaZe Clan, 2 attacks in a row on Clubhouse.
We talked about how good they were at executing. We said it was going to be a step-by-step process to clear out the rafters. Before step one even happened, Hot and Cold swung over the balcony in an attempt to grasp one kill before he was taken out. And the flank from below wasn't able to find anybody else, while Souls was able to shut down the rotate from the assisting SSG member. And this is the second time where SSG has allowed FaZe to set up and attempt to execute step by step. If you're SSG, you have to realize that's not how we won Consulate. That's not how we're going to win Clubhouse.
The formula that SSG had, especially by the end of it onto Consulate, was being okay with going for these risky plays, being okay with looking for the entry denial as it came through. It was Ashen that really lit the spark with his 2K back on Consulate over on defense when he claimed the entry kills. And now they need to find that spark again.
And so they will move to a new bomb site. Gym and bedroom. After failing on the basement and failing on cache CCTV, they try a third bomb site. Once again, an incredibly aggressive roam from SSG. But FaZe have had their number. They've had this read.
SSG is going to have to be able to take it to him. And the operator lineup that they're running is to protect the Bandit, the Castle, the Azami, the Mute. It's to stall enough time on all the walls so that Forest can rotate to each individual wall. Server, connector, hot tub. Deny the openings from FaZe, which will allow FaZe to then execute and set up their execute. So they're attacking the attack head on, dealing with the first set of problems, which is the walls.
I like this from SSG. They are willing to play the minigame with the trick on the other side, so here it starts now. Once again, the Bandit trick onto the Selmas
no
and
way.
my charge. Forest, he's gonna be able to get both! Impeccable timing from Forest on the minigame.
There are moments in Rainbow Six that we cheer for incredible fragging ability, and there are moments when players step up for their team with their brains and their mechanics, and that was what Forest did just there. He denied 2 exothermics and 1 Selma.
The fact that he got both exothermics, now leaving only 1 ace, that just gets removed once the Thatcher wears off. It leaves FaZe in such a difficult spot trying to go through the hot tub, especially with the breach being on the unfavorable side, which is the left side, which exposes you to the main hall. That SSG has an Azami and 2 players standing behind, waiting for what FaZe is going to come through with next.
FaZe Clan, they've squandered their utility over on the wall, but not their guns just yet. Still 5 players alive, but the branches on the decision tree are starting to close. Hot and Cold, he takes a little bit of damage, but not out just yet. Here goes Ashen on a peek through the garage, but there's a player on the roof. KDS, does he know what's going on?
This could be a fickle affair for Ashen. SSG do not need to give up the numbers. They have a favorable position thanks to that wall denial mini game earlier, thanks to Forest's heroics. But have a look at this. Cyber lurking down below. Faults waiting to receive. Oh, but there's information. The shots don't land. But there's information now for Faults. He knows he's been hunted and he can fall back down the kitchen hatch. Time is ticking away.
Tough spot now for FaZe Clan. The win conditions of the round have closed, and it's all SSG's round to lose, and Ashen's gonna open up the equation.
Oh no! Faults, your teammate's shooting you. Handy in a difficult position as Vidaking has jumped on inside, found one, traded back. Souls 1v3. He knows where one player is, just hanging around the weights machine. J9O is in a good crossfire, hot and cold, finishes it with the deagle. And SSG finally claimed their first round on club.
We talked about SSG having to take it to FaZe, and that's exactly what they did on that gym bomb site. They brought the Bandit to counter with literally the first step that FaZe is gonna have to accomplish, which is opening up the site, which FaZe has been doing an amazing job. Beautiful Bandit trick by Forest. It set the rest of the team up. There was really no entry for FaZe to be able to walk in. Obviously, the only X factor being Cyber on the buck below. He wasn't able to get Faults. Faults running all the way back to site because he knows that if he doesn't give that pick away, you still have the advantage. FaZe has to struggle to find their way into site, and struggled they did.
Really liking the approach from SSG. They know that FaZe, they play this methodical game, and they know the science behind the Rainbow Six, but well, the space station was made for science, and they can meet that on the other side.
Oh, so eloquent, Mandy. SSG determining the pace of these rounds, as you've said, Fox. And just forcing FaZe to make fatal errors. They can transpose that into a few more defenses. This half will be looking pretty. But starting with 2 attacks in a row for FaZe is not where SSG want to be, so they need to make up for their slow start on Clubhouse.
Absolutely. Clubhouse is one of the more defender-sided maps, but you never judge a team based off their defenses. You judge them off their attacks. But if you can go on to attack with a 4-2 lead, oh, you are feeling very comfortable because you can almost argue that you'll have a much easier time attacking on CC, attacking on Gym. So SSG did the hard part. They won their Gym. Now they just have to win the other 2 sites that are arguably a lot easier. They know what they need to correct, but can they put in the game? Will FaZe bring something to the table that we haven't seen prior? Will FaZe try to go for the picks instead of the executes?
FaZe are starting to deconstruct this top floor as Handy's made a breach over on Kennel's wall, but Ashen's there to meet them on the other side. Just over on Rafters 90, in a bit of a vulnerable position to that breach that has just gone down. He sends out the solar scanner to make sure that there's still no info on him. KDS, he feels like something's going on the outside of the building, but it's actually Faults to find the first onto Cyber.
And now SSG know, after the aggression that they have engaged, that they can continue to beat time and time again. Ashen, a double kill to pad his stats, to bring SSG back in a substantial advantage. 3 players in advance of FaZe. Vidiking looking desperate. Map 1, he was the MVP, but that was a long time ago now, nearly 2 hours. And map 3 is where this will all stick or die. Soul's getting desperate, he has been trapped, and so he has nowhere to go but onwards.
FaZe Clan gonna try to find some type of an advantage, but Ashen still up top. An amazing job from the Solus to be able to deny all the information. FaZe Clan, one chance to make something happen starts on this blue.
Ooh, Ashen just missed his chance. Souls baits out the peak, Forest falls victim, but so does Vidiking, dropping down the hatch, and here comes Ashen! He's back again for SSG! And the score's even once again.
And it's Ashen once again. It was over on Consulate that he lit the spark for SSG, and it's on Clubhouse that he does the exact same thing. Give him the solace, man. He deserves this operator. Yeah. He deserves the P90 in his hands because he can spray down that entire magazine, and he claims so many kills to his name. It was 3, I believe it was, in the round for Ashen on the Solace.
And for Ashen, as the crowd starts to call his name, he is showing none of the weaknesses that you would expect from a rookie first time on the stage. Fuck, do you remember the first time you played on stage in front of a crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. It was Cologne, Germany, and we played against Prime Penta, and I dropped 2 kills.
So maybe you can speak from experience what it's like to play as a rookie in front of a stage against one of the greats of Rainbow Six. It's not easy, and yet Ashen is still showing up like this.
It's extremely daunting, but obviously something that Ashen has that I don't is just natural aiming talent. He's been so good for so long. The confidence to make plays like this is only given to him by his teammates. You're as strong as your weakest link, and there are no weak links right now against SSG. The confidence to be able to play in the rafters as the Solus, knowingly, confidently, not spotting a single drone. He knows he's safe up there. He makes one of the round-winning plays, able to shut down 3 and still maintain garage position, not allowing that comeback. He doesn't give the kill back. It was a pitch-perfect round from Ashen.
I very much like the approach from SSG. They've realized that FaZe Clan, they've put all their eggs in the early game basket, right? They really want at least either Cyber, or most of the time Cyber really, or KDS, to find that entry pick to unlock the round for them. And SSG know that now, and they've met that with their own aggression and with their own relentlessness on denying that entry from happening.
Well, we're back into the game now after a very brief technical timeout. The fist pumps come through once again, and SSG is looking as happy as ever. During this major, SSG have been real BO3 besties. They struggled at the start of Swiss. They lost their first 2 matches. They went down into that lower bracket. 3 best of 3 wins in a row. What's a few more?
The longer the tournament goes on, the more SSG has been looking in form, especially with the confidence as it builds in such a newer team. Off the back of Ashen, he's been so good. The rest of his team playing off of his plays, making them cohesive rounds. FaZe Clan struggling to find that opening, and I love to see the reads from SSG where they're able to completely understand, hey, the first 2 rounds, we gotta give our props to FaZe. Their executes have been phenomenal. We can't let them execute. And now, the past 2 rounds, they completely changed in the way that they want their start. Just like you said, FaZe has their eggs in the basket. SSG is trying to stomp on that basket before it hatches.
little bit of work done here from Souls as he's finally hacked that camera, but guess who was hiding below the whole time? It's Faults. Bit of damage, but he realizes the priority of getting out safely. He will not cross any line of sight that could meet his demise. Meanwhile, Souls, I believe, has now lost his Brava drone. SSG on this bar defense have a lot of map control still in their favor as FaZe slowly but surely start to pick apart this defense.
FaZe Clan, they have lost a little bit of that live droning potential. There was like 4 drones that were in the building at once, but no entry to follow from it just yet. I don't even believe that Cyber is in the building himself. But now that the drones have sailed on through, everyone has gotten off it, and they're going to enter into the building together.
The beauty of this bar defense from SSG is they have the Solus below who's able to call out the plant. We saw SSG go to the site once in their prior Phase 2 matches, and they won it off of Bolts, specifically gathering information off of the Solus. The Solus has been so strong for SSG so far.
Have a look at this. It's the Solus himself getting aggressive once again. As the breach onto the bomb site has been enabled, Ashen has retaken this position inside of construction, and he has the ability to deny that plant.
This is really good from SSG. They know that they cannot let FaZe into the late round. There's absolutely no way in the world that they're going to allow them that win condition. And so as the mid round is dialing on, they want to continue to meet them at their doorstep. This is a really good drone though from Souls. He's just seen the site being completely empty. And now that stock control is in the hands of FaZe, they can have a think about the plan.
And indeed they do. The logic bomb rings out, the smokes go forth. And Souls must cover now. Vidiking to force down that diffuser. Here comes the peak, but Ashen goes down.
Attackers are activating.
And immediately FaZe vacate the bomb site. A nigh impossible retake for SSG as the Brazilians assume strong post-plant positions. Faults the first to fall. J90 finds one. But this retake seems almost impossible unless if Forest can conjure up a position. But coming in from the backside, Cyber shuts him down. Hot and cold, and J90 will fall. Vidiking finds them both. FaZe Clan once again in the lead.
The trade to stop the plant. Ashen tried to make the play. We saw 3 of his teammates up there after he went down. They weren't there fast enough to be able to stop the diffuser. The diffuser went down. C4 wasn't able to connect. And once that case is down, you saw his FaZe completely flooded the site. They left Cyber in the back to flank and take his time to stop that first player who was Forrest, who tried to hop onto the fuse. FaZe has had an answer for that round. We talked about how good the Solus was for gathering information. The information was there, but the trade wasn't.
Yeah, interesting round as well. They called out the Dokkaebi as they went to the plan as well, so there could be no players on cams, but you can still get on the Solus, right? And so even though there was info on the player that was planting down, they were in such a blind spot. It was Vidiking getting the plant down. It was in such a blind spot from the vertical that they were eventually able to get that down safely as Souls was there to contest the hatch directly. So FaZe Clan knew what the conditions were to get that plant down, and they planted a player straight there to make sure it could go down. Absolutely.
The player that you talked about planting was Souls. The fact that he stood on top of his teammate looking at the only angle that his teammate could have been taken down from, which was the hatch. He got that shut down into Ashen. He was there as soon as the case was put down. He completely rotated and trusted Cyber to close the round out.
Ashen, very daring spawn peek from him. We saw them bear immense fruit for Space Station on Consulate. Clubhouse is a very different map though, and spawn peeking, the spawn peeks really have been done to death. Consulate, a much newer map. A little bit harder to check for every single one of those creative spawn peeks. SSG though will not over-aggress early. We're going back to Jim. This is the round where Forrest secured the bomb site using his bandit.
Absolutely, and FaZe is opting out to play the Ace Thermite and falling into the same trap. They're bringing the Habana to secure that they open up multiple holes. But as we say that, it looks like none of the walls were contested. Forrest might be holding down the bathroom, which is might be an unexpected situation from FaZe.
2 unused reinforcements, though, from SSG is a little bit of a question mark for me. And Souls is once again good info inside, however, taken down.
Forrest on the other side, though, of this breach is going to try and keep Cyber at bay. He's the player that hasn't been able to step his foot in the building, but FaZe Clan will call upon to try and make a dent in.
Very quick bandit juggle here from Forest, but it could well be a bait. FaZe now know about his position. He looks for a peek. He gets the down onto Cyber. He might not know it. Blind as he was. What's the play now for FaZe?
Flores is down. They're trying to open up more angles, but the Azami closing off the windows, hot and cold, getting position. He's going to close off the bathroom rotate too. That was a beautiful pickup from Forrest to down the player. He wasn't able to get his first kill, but KDS is going to jump into the site.
Oh, a C4 takes him down very low. But Handy can finally get one back for FaZe here. SSG have dominated on the bomb site. FaZe, like waves crashing upon a cliff, find just about nothing. Forrest is low HP as well. Searching desperately for a pick. FaZe, oh, an opportunity goes begging once again. Handy is the last one standing all alone on this balcony with 4 players to find and only a matter of time before he falls.
Tough spot now for Handy. 1 versus 4 is tough, but there are 2 players on lower HP. If he wants to make an attempt, he can go for it, but there's not a lot of time left to do it. He's going to make his way inside of Cash and can at least try and take this 1-to-1 onto J90, but oh, really nice angle that J90's got. He's not even going to take the fight. Oh, Halfgun Traps on the other side are going to take down Handy even lower. Just a slither of HP left.
And will they give him the satisfaction? SSG say, do not move a muscle. He doesn't deserve our peak. He does not deserve such respect. SSG hold firm. And once again, tie up the scoreline. The first half is even as SSG move on to their attack.
The discipline from SSG there not to allow themselves to get picked. Every single kill matters. The mentality in this game has been a back and forth battle between who's feeling in the driver's seat and the commanding seat. But like we said earlier, you don't judge a team on their clubhouse defenses. You judge them on their clubhouse attacks.
Oh, wow. Well, you missed that from Forrest. He only secured the injured player. But you can just see a goal that SSG have to continue peaking, playing aggressively from these positions. Oh, that is a complex one. There's a lot of complexity to it.
That's good from you, don't mind that one. But yeah, like you said, the side swap has happened, and FaZe are now on their defending half. SSG, now, Blitz has slipped through the ban phase.
5 seconds
So
remaining.
Forrest is immediately going to take up that offer, thank you very much.
Wowee.
That makes me think that
Attackers objective is to locate a bomb
SSG
and
want to
defuse
get
it.
their way on into the building pretty quickly.
SSG absolutely knows that FaZe is a lot more of a slower team. They love to take the first floor on both maps that we've seen before. They don't have too many roaming aggressive players that are going to be going for the aggressive plays like SSG was doing. The main player they have to worry about is Cyber, who's going to be on that Warden. So if he's the first point of contact against the Blitz, obviously that'll be an interesting interaction that we'll have to see. But they're so fast in the map. FaZe Clan not even contesting the immediate entries, giving SSG what they want because they want SSG to execute.
Ooh. This gun from Grim, the commando, packs a real punch. 2 body shots could be the kill if he's got the extended barrels. Sees the player, but clever from Handy, or from KDS rather, on the other side. A shoulder peek. Makes sure that he gets the information on J90's position. And J90 decides better of taking that fight.
The good part about the Grim is you're also going to be able to bring the hard breach gadget, so you'll be able to get 2 hatches. And seeing an Ace and Thermite strikes to me like they're going to try to open up the church wall, which is going to put a lot of pressure on the church bomb site. So I wonder if the Blitz is going to go through blue and take the attention away while the rest of the team hits through main stairs and hits against church.
I think I'd have to agree with that sentiment. SSG bringing along a whole lot of hard breaches. They will try and play the minigame onto the moto hatch. They did think that Souls was going to be tricking it on the other side, but Souls has actually vacated that position, and they will get their moto hatch for free.
How are they going to clear these as army keeper barriers in church, though? This bomb site has become a real fortress thanks to Handy. Oh, the timing! SSG fans breathe a sigh of relief. They're very lucky that none of those space station players fell to that C4. And what's more, the kitchen hatch, I believe, is successfully opened.
Now SSG has exactly what they need, but the only X factor that they have is going to be the Blitz. Where is the Blitz going to come from? The Case is on main stairs. The Case has to go through Church.
Handy with this Azami. He's the perfect operator for this position. Keep a barrier in hand, but he finds the opening pick. Here comes the Blitz. Forrest moves in. Good for one, and for nothing else. Falls down the ground, leaves Ashen in a 1 versus 4. He may well be able to pick up his teammate. Agas, though, effectively locks Space Station out of this round as FaZe retreat back to site, fortified in their positions without a lot of hope here for SSG. Ashen will drop regardless, knowing that he has to make something work. Okay, that's a nice pick and a nice first step, but Vidiking is there, waiting, dancing around the bomb. He has the superior position, traded back, but Cyber who gets the last laugh. Another solid round for FaZe, and a good start to their defense.
The idea of the attack was there. The Blitz was meant to be the first point of contact going through Church, but unfortunately for SSG, they lost 2 right before the Blitz was able to go down and get rid of the site player, especially the first player being Fultz with the Case on main stairs. He is so isolated. When you lose that Case, it's very difficult for somebody to have to turn around, especially if you're the Blitz. Even if he was able to get the second in the site, he'd have to turn around, exposing his back to the rest of the players. FaZe's trade game was so perfect, and they weren't surprised by all of the openings that SSG had.
Yeah, just having a look through the replays right now, you called that exactly right. Even though some of the SSG players did try and go through the backstab from the blue side of the map, you called it. KDS wasn't phased by it at all. He took those 2 1-to-1s and he won them both.
He wasn't phased by it.
You can have that once. You get that once, Fox.
Okay.
You've used it. You're done now.
5 seconds left before.
Don't say the F word.
What?
FaZe. Don't say FaZe.
Okay.
Locate and defuse the bomb.
Well, then we better hope SSG starts bringing it back.
Well, we may well have to say FaZe's name quite a lot here, as they've had a real phenomenal performance in their first half and been able to back it up with the first round of the second.
The Blitz is going to be the common thing for SSG. Obviously, they want to use the explosiveness of Force. Like you said, Mandy, FaZe left the Blitz up for him to play. But if he's going to bring it, everybody needs to be behind him on the same page. They can't lose people before he is the first entry into the site.
Here's Cyber down below, collecting a little bit of info for the defense. He has identified that there is, in fact, no pressure whatsoever over on the gym side, on the CC side of the map, as the pressure's actually coming over from Jacuzzi instead. The wall is electrified on the other side, and they are worried about the bandit trick game being played, and so they will open it up with a thermite charge, but here goes Forrest, straight on in.
It is indeed a rush with Souls from way downtown. Tosses his C4 and claims 2 lives of FaZe. Hot and cold looking for something, but nothing can be found. It's into the meat grinder once again for SSG. Every player peaks 1 by 1, and so too they do fall. Ashen in a 1 versus 5. He will be given barely an opportunity. Keep feeding him, and he'll lap it up every single kill. 3 more. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it possible to give this one a go?
It's always possible, especially when Ashen, the rookie, is on the board. It's always possible, but knowing SSG, I'd imagine they use a little bit of time to talk about what went wrong. Nope, Ashen straight into connector, looking for the 3rd into his 1v5 potential ace.
It's a huge ask. We've seen miracles happen from Space Station before. How about 7 rounds in a row on Consulate? Ashen, though, this crossfire is nigh impossible. The worst thing Souls can do right now is peek, but it looks like Cyber is rounding another corner. And there comes Souls, the final nail in the coffin for Ashen's potential clutch. Here comes the fists. And the pump. That's a 2-round lead now for FaZe.
That was a beautiful intuition read from Souls, to have the C4 ready to go as soon as the breach was about to open, to know that SSG was going to rush through, whether he heard the clanking of the shield above him or he just had a lot of good prep work and knew that it was coming. He had the C4 ready to go. It gets 2 and stumps SSG's potential rush.
Sol's very much ready for that, and being 2 rounds down, this is the final map of the best of 3, and it's forced SSG to take their tactical timeout. Now, what would they be talking about here? They are on the attack now. So is it more of a strategy thing? Are they going to then go and change up their formula going into these final couple rounds of Clubhouse? They've really leaned into the blitz, but it hasn't worked twice now. Surely this is the time for SSG to change their philosophy.
Here's that C4 lineup. Utterly devastating for SSG. But you're right. Tactical timeout is well earned here for SSG. 2 rounds down. FaZe, though, very composed as they move on to their tertiary bomb site choice. Even losing this round for FaZe means they go back down to Church, which was fairly dominant of an affair. And the question remains, like you said, Mandy, for SSG, do they have to pivot here? Do they have to move away from that blitz?
I agree completely. They didn't play off of the blitz correctly the first round, and on that second round, that was just a beautiful rounds by Souls. You've got to give them the credit for that, getting the 2 on the initial rush. So if you're SSG, you obviously have to be asking yourself, that's 2 rounds where we put a lot of eggs in our blitz basket, and it has not worked. So we have to be able to take a lot more time in our next set of attacks, because you are slowly letting FaZe get the match point on defense.
Now, last time that we saw SSG in this position, they did take their tactical timeout over on Consulate, and they changed their playstyle going into the second half, and they did amazing in their comeback. This time around, it looks like they're doing the same thing here. No more blitz, but instead they're still going to lean into playing the minigame, actually meeting FaZe's methodology by their own. Oh, the impact trick. Not only is it going to take out the exothermic charge, but it's also taken out the second half of the Selma too. So that hole is just a line of sight. It cannot be an entry.
What happened there? How did the exothermic get taken out?
It was an impact trick. The Selma went off before the exothermic, and he threw an impact through.
It kind of looked like the ace, potentially just the explosion just hit the side of the thermite, but it could have been the impact as well. Regardless, it's obviously going to be frustrating for SSG to deal with.
Yeah, wow. Minute details can really affect an attack, and we've seen that so far. Here comes a nade. Cybot sent into orbit. A big opener from Hot and Cold. And the first time that SSG are looking poised on one of their attacks.
That's exactly what SSG needed. They needed that advantage to build their confidence in these rounds. FaZe is a very slow team. They have a lot of difficult spots to clear out. But when you're able to get that extra pick on a Cyber, who is the main roamer on FaZe, you know that you have a little more of a comfortable setup when you can get ready for the execute against the other 4 passive members of FaZe.
Ashen's made his way all the way over into Con. So as well as SSG trying to work Kennel's Wall, they've now gone and flipped their attack over onto the other side as well to try and work Con as well. Now the problem with this is even though they can actually get Con control, they're lacking a little bit in hard breach. Ashen's got to use one of the secondary hard breach charges to go and open up the wall, but the breach pressure has been lost for them for now.
But it doesn't necessarily look like SSG is going to go through connector. The rest of the team's setting up to look like they're about to completely fly on the site. You have Hot and Cold below. You have J90 outside Rafters door, garage door. It looks like they want to get a little more of an advantage before they commit to the plant.
The thing is, there is still an Azami barrier protecting against the CCTV breach. And so SSG have few options as J90 is now on the balcony, but they need an opener, and that could be it, but no handy shuts down Ashen, faults to fall. Hot and Cold finds nothing with his nades down below, and FaZe Clan are looking to lock out another convincing defense. Desperately moving up the stairs, Hot and Cold falls. Was that an electric claw kill? FaZe Clan, once again, springing into action, asserting their dominance, and out of nowhere, a match point is once again set before them.
Like we said, FaZe Clan have a lot of positions that they need to clear. They were spread too thin. They weren't able to deal with the first Azami, and the player behind it wasn't even getting tracked by the bees. They had no information on green, cash room, no real information on server, because remember, the walls did not get open. The amazing impact trick from FaZe was able to shut down that wall, and that's the exact same area where we saw SSG stump FaZe on the other side of things, was denying the walls. FaZe taking a page out of their book, stopping the wall, holding up in the site. It was very difficult for SSG to find a footing. They didn't use the utility correctly.
Yeah, so SSG, they're trying to prove that they can play the methodical siege that FaZe played on their attacking half. But so far, it's been stunted. FaZe certainly winning out on the minigame very early on. Translated that into a win in the last round. Now we're going to go over all the way down to the basement for the potential final rounds of the map and final rounds of the series. It's up to SSG now to solve their problems and press the attack.
Well, it took 7 rounds in a row to come back on console. Oh, that is devastating from Faults. An embarrassment. Yeah, yikes.
I agree.
Well, for FaZe Clan in map number 1, well, they stole Skyscraper. They fired up. Vidiking stood up from his chair, desperate for a reaction from the crowd. In map 2, SSG themselves got that reaction, but Forests has found his opening kill and immediately forfeits map control and saves his life, moving back out again for SSG.
Very beautiful pre-play shown to get Forrest inside and out with an advantage for his team. Obviously, they had one last round, and the biggest key is FaZe has so many difficult positions to clear, especially with having KDS still inside rafters.
This is feeling like almost like a FaZe-style round, but from SSG. Just then, they had like 4 players on drones. It was only Forrest in the building. Now they've all gotten off the drones, and Ashen has made the second work for them onto KDS.
That was the player we talked about in rafters. We were worried about him. Ashen wasn't. Took him down. 5v3 for SSG, but they're still Cyber. He's been the main roamer for FaZe Clan, and he's gonna get taken down.
It's up to Vidiking now as he falls back to sight. And it's a flood from SSG, but Souls claims 2 with him. Vidiking taken down from behind. SSG are not done yet.
We've seen them in this position before. We said they needed 5. We said they needed 4. So on and so forth until they brought it to overtime. FaZe on match point. Will they choke the advantage for a second time in the series?
2 more rounds. 2 more rounds. That's all that the Space Station fans are thinking right now. But for the players in the server, it's got to be the last thing on your mind. As Ashton said, nothing but grey faces. That's what our opponents are to us.
FaZe Clan are going to go back down to the basement, having lost out that last round. SSG with a really nice dissection of the whole map, really shutting down the roam game that FaZe brought to them. Now FaZe are going to change their philosophy completely. Last time around they went out this basement, it was because they locked them out of the execute phase in going into the bomb site. And now they're going to do the same.
Here's where the mental game will come into play for FaZe. Obviously, they've been here before, and we know how it happened. So, knowing that now, being in this position, you know that they're probably sitting there sweating a little bit, not to replay the same situation that happened in the last map.
FaZe Clan very much leaning into the anchor-centric utility. Your Plantanol, the Smoke, these armies, the Kaid. It's very much deja vu from the last time that FaZe Clan were able to win out on this bomb site.
They know that SSG, the last time they had a very difficult time at getting into the site. Wow. Being able to execute. And I was going to note that Hot and Cold is on the Ying, which would have helped their entry a lot more, because instead of bringing the Blists that needs that close range combat, that needs to be the first person in, you can throw the Candelas in as your team onslaughts the site.
Well, they may not have found the kill, but SSG already have a number.
That SSG needed more of an explosive entry into the basement bomb site. And as we say that, the Ying is going to come out, but so is the Blitz.
Wow.
SSG trying to switch up potentially what FaZe could have seen off of the cameras, getting a read on the operators, the same way as SSG maybe got a read on what FaZe Clan was going to do in the site. So maybe we'll see a little bit difference from both.
I got to admit, I am frightful to see that Blitz picked once again.
I gotta say, my heepies have been GB. Forrest on the Blitz has not done too well in the series so far, so like you've been saying, Dev, it does make me nervous to see him go back onto it again when their new formula seemed to work pretty well.
So what is this Blitz game plan? What is their intention?
I think they have to wait and see how the site's set up. Obviously, the last time they attacked it, FaZe Clan was very comfortable in the positions that they were. They had 2 people in church, 1 person blue, 1 person dirt, and 1 person back armory. Everybody that attacked the site from SSG lost their own 1v1s. SSG tried to flood through blue, they tried to flood through kitchen, and the Blitz tried to push through church. The Vita King was very good in that position. He was able to drop the case from Fultz on the main stairs. And it was a very split attack from SSG where they didn't spend enough time clearing because they had a lot of faith in the Blitz to be first. But there's a lot of characters that were viewed first before the Blitz was actually a play in the round.
Quite like this from SSG. They have done a full clear of the map now. Roam clear completely successful. FaZe Clan, of course, having forfeited the top 2 floors of the map. It's just taking a little bit of time for SSG to have identified that. Now, will they come back to bite them? The mid-round now is starting to play out, and they do have the EMPs of Fultz to be able to play the trick game, the trick mini-game against Souls over on the other side on the KE. So, if they can open up the hatches that they might desire.
That C4 lies in wait. Fultz, don't get too close.
I think they have a good understanding of this there. Yeah, it will be picked out. What worries me about this round is they only have 1 nade left.
Oh, wow.
To be able to move the FaZe players from their difficult back armory spots. The Thatcher not going to get the cage.
Oh! Another nuke comes flying and Fultz goes down. The first pick has been secured for FaZe.
Oh, they brought so much caution going over into kitchen. Fultz even EMP'd one of the C4s on the other side, but there were 2 for FaZe Clan. And that's really unlocked the round for them now. Only 50 seconds left to go, but Forest can assassinate Falls in through dirt.
So dangerous whenever you see that shield. Aim down sights. Here comes J9. No, he has been heard. The Blitz sets in. Space Station have the advantage. The Blitz works. And like a magic trick, Space Station steal the side. Here comes Forest.
Timeout, and we wanted, what are SSG cooking? Are they really okay with this? And well, Forrest, he took that personally. He replies with a 4K.
If there was a round that could get the crowd chanting after a technical timeout, it was the 4K off of Force's Blitz. And it was so drastic that it sends FaZe Clan into their timeout to figure out how they can force SSG to do an execute and deal with the blinding utility that SSG is bringing.
So SSG sustained their momentum despite that elongated technical timeout. But now, FaZe have a chance to talk to Rafadel, their coach. They have a chance to figure out how to play against Space Station in what could be the final round. And you've got to imagine, if Space Station managed to win the round following FaZe's timeout, to push overtime, to win their 3rd round in a row, after what happened on Consulate, I cannot imagine a world where FaZe have the wherewithal to hold on in overtime.
It doesn't really look like FaZe wants to switch up too much out of the ordinary. They know that what they've been doing has been working for the most part, but SSG looks to have had a good answer. And I believe any answer can be good when you have a crowd like this behind you, chanting for you, pushing for you to get that 6-6 overtime.
Up and out of your chairs. That's the kind of standing ovation that Forest deserves after a play like that. Space Station, they are not out of the woods yet. 1 more round stands between them and overtime. And overtime, oh baby, that's where they flourish.
Forrest is going to do it again. That's all I'm saying. He's gone back onto the Blitz of the Monty, I believe it was. That was teased out even before that. Now, last time that we saw Forrest try and make his way into the top floor, Souls had a pre-placed or pre-ripped C4 ready for him to run in through the jacuzzi breach. Will it be the same case this time? Or will Forrest take a step back and let that C4 ring out before he tries to make his way on in?
The drastic difference from Forrest's blitz play last round to his other rounds was he was the primary entry for the other rounds. He was supposed to be the game changer, and FaZe was always ready for it. Whereas this previous round on the basement, Forrest went through dirt, an uncommon spot with the blitz. You weren't expecting him to go there, and that's why he was able to get into those positions and get FaZe out of the difficult spots that they've been playing in, and he ended up with 4. So if SSG is able to slow down Forrest and have him be the flanker, have pulled the attention away from him, he might be able to replicate the same kind of destruction with blitz.
Well, already SSG have made amicable early progress in this round, breaching that jacuzzi wall. Now looking for the same here on CCTV. Forests, here's that blitz.
They're all waiting. They're waiting for their moment for the exothermic charge to pop, and in goes Forrest.
Looking for the player at top red stairs. The Fenrir may not matter. He's forced back and he's feeling the pressure as 2 players shut him down. Handy finds the opening kill and manages to survive despite the onslaught from SSG. Several players looking for this one defender, hiding in the corner. As KDS forced down the stairs, he still survives, and EMP goes out, but Cyber's found his! Devastation again for SSG, quietens the crowd as FaZe have a 2-player advantage. Oh, Faults, don't do me like this! Don't make me a promise that you can't keep! No! You're making me believe! Souls falls on back, and SSG have brought back the numbers.
3v3, a little bit of a standstill as FaZe Clan falls back. They want SSG to push into the site and find them, while the chants roar in SSG's favor. How will they be able to step into the site? FaZe have a complete understanding over all of SSG's positions.
But the time is ticking away, and with only 30 seconds left, the space station will feel the gravity of FaZe Clan. The 3 remaining players on the bomb site. It's False with the diffuser in hand to be the first incision into the defense.
But this power position remains on the bomb site. This crossfire may well be too much to overcome. The first 2 kills. FaZe are firing in full force. NA, bow before your new king. NA will not defend their major crown. SSG are done. FaZe have a date with Los in the semi-finals.
FaZe silence the crowd. Vita King standing up, waving goodbye to the NA